Hello, welcome to Iron Cherry 61. So today I'll be doing a uh s- short lecture on the 1943 Battle of Smolensk. So let me download the images. Sorry, let me check. I have multiple emails. So I want to use this image. So this image is taken from an ebook called the Smolensk 1943 the Red Army Relentless Advance by Robert Foch. So I bought it on Kindle. Okay, so I want to like talk about this image. Before that, let's play some music. Hoi for meet the general. This is a very good background music. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's do on loop. YouTube repeat. So get into the mood. Uh, Hoi for okay, good. Hey, good. So our okay, I need to lower the volume on my side because I cannot hear my own voice. This image I would say it's quite impressive. Quite impressive to study and read. So let's go download, open with Paint 3D. Yeah, correct. So the 1943, no brush. How do I move the? How do I move? How do I drag the image? Like that. Drag the image. So 1943, Battle of Smolensk. So I'm looking at the, sorry, I'm looking at at my iPad. So for any information I want to talk about. So let's look at this map. So the Battle of the Battle of the Liberation of Smolensk was planned by the was planned mainly by the Western Front. So let's put it this way. So the Western Front is let me do a brush. So no, I need opacity to be higher. So the Western Front stretches all the way from here. No, I need a more. The color is a bit. Why the opacity is? Okay, use some marker. I think like that better. So the Western Front. No. Let me try something bigger. Then maybe red color. Okay, so like that easier to see. So the Western Front, this is where the Western Front is located. It's all the way until no, sorry. It's here. So the Western Front is around here. All the way until here. So this is the Western Front for the Soviet side. So the Western Front will be the main assault group, or the Kalinin Front. The Kalinin Front is here. So the Kalinin Front will provide the northern assault on Smolensk. So the Kalinin Front will be the supporting group, or the Western Front will be the main group. So if I'm not wrong, okay, let me go through my. I'm looking through the ebook. So I'm looking through the Soviet plans. So something more detailed. so the Kalinin front will provide the northern attack on Smolensk, while the western front around here will the western front will attack to this direction. So the ultimate goal is to encircle Smolensk. So this is the western front is this one, and the Kalinin front is this one. So the Kalinin front will attack in the north, while the western front will attack like in the center around here. So the goal of the western front is to attack the German defense here and capture this style of Rosfra. I don't know lah. So this one. Then after that, this one will go for the encirclement of Smolensk. So pivot north. So you can see they are planning a very large pincer movement. Okay, now let me erase everything. So okay. So you might want to take a closer look at this map. Just take a closer look. Yeah, just take a closer look. See what you can understand. So then the 4th Army. Let's talk about the 4th Army. The 4th Army on the German side. So the 4th Army was part of the Heeresgruppe Mitte, or you call it the Army Group Center. So this entire front is basically the Army Group Center, Heeresgruppe Mitte. So the 4th Army will be the main opponent in this battle. So the 4th Army will defend the direction around here. This is the 4th Army. So let's see the 4th Army all the way until the 2nd Panzer Army here. So this black line is the 4th Army. So the goal of the 4th Army here is to block the direct advance from Vyazma to Smolensk. So 4th Army was commanded by this general, if you know. Very famous general. Famous but quite highly underrated. Gotha Heinrichsai. He was like the premier defensive expert of the Wehrmacht. Okay, so like that better. Okay, then let's analyze a bit the 4th Army, the sector, the 4th Army sector. So let me see first. Fourth Army. Let me look. I'm looking through my ebook. Okay, so in the 4th Army sector, Heinrichsai established multiple lines of defense. At the front, a heavily reinforced security zone was protected by mines, anti-tank ditches, and wire obstacles, while the troops occupy consecutive trench lines. So one particularly important position was the Buffer Staulen, or you call it the Buffalo position. So Buffer Staulen, the smelling. So this was a very important position. Buffer Staulen, or you call it the Buffalo position. Buffer Staulen, I don't know how to, or you call it the Buffalo position. So it was located near the village of Gasdilovo. I don't know how to spell. So the location is held here. It's called the Buffer Staulen is, or you call it the Buffalo position. So it was held by the 260 Infantry Division. So if I zoom out, you can see the position. You can see its position relative to the rest of the front. So on the left flank of 4th Army. So this area is the left flank of 4th Army. So the SSV1. So this is the SSV1 Army Corps. This is the Army Corps, not division. must know the difference. So the Army Corps, they help the strongly fortified Barbarossa Stallion. So I'm assuming this is where the Barbarossa, the term I'll call it, let me it's called the Barbarossa Stallion. Yeah, so this is the position. Okay, Barbarossa Stallion. So this is also another important position. It was heavily fortified. So Henry-side defenses were formidable. So each infantry regiment typically had 2 of its 3 battalions up front. This one so what it means is okay, so one infantry regiment had 2 of its 3 battalion up front, with each frontline battalion holding a 2-kilometer wide sector. So this one I want to talk more about this in my next presentation or what. Yeah, so basically it say there are how do I put it? Okay, so how do I put it? So if you're talking about Henry-side defenses, how the infantry how the defenses were like organized. So for every infantry battalion, they have 2 of its. Okay, so I think the best way to illustrate is like that. So this is, I assume based on the writer words one infantry regiment has 3 battalions. So 2 battalions were up front, each holding a 2-kilometer wide sector. So this is how every infantry regiment was organized in this in Henry-side defense sector. So every infantry regiment has 3 battalions, and 2 of the battalions were up front, each holding so each of these were holding a 2-kilometer sector. Is there a way to change the cursor now? Okay, I want to change my cursor because this cursor is a bit hard to read. Maybe a better cut. Try a different cursor. Okay, try read sector. Yeah, I think like that easier to say. So basically one. Okay, so each one battalion was holding a 200-kilometer sector. So this also. So one infantry regiment has 3 battalions. 2 battalions were up front, each holding a 2-kilometer sector. So this is how the So where's the 4th army? So this is how the 4th army around here. So this is how the 4th army in Henry-side command, how they were organized. So every of the infantry regiment, they have like 3 battalions. So 2 of the battalions were at the front line. So each of the front line battalion was holding a 2-kilometer wide sector. So this is just the front line. What you call that? The front line units. So for Henry-side, they have a main. They have a. Okay, I changed color. For Henry-side, they have a main German line of resistance. So they have a second line. It's called the HKL, or you call it there's a term for it. HKL, or you call it Yes, correct. So HKL. So they have a second line of defense. This is according to the book, this is the main German line of resistance. Okay, so what is the distance? So okay, change color. So the distance. No, I need to reduce thickness. So the distance between the HKL and the front line, okay. I think it's better to put it this way. So Hanrisai has okay, Hanrisai so the black line is called the security zone. So the security zone is like the front line is the front line trenches. Right. Security zone. So the black line is the security zone, then the orange line is the HKL, or I call it the Hankofen. I don't know the German name. So this is the main line of resistance. So the distance between the HKL and the security zone is 3 to 4 kilometer. This is the distance. The distance between the security zone and the main German line distance is 3 to 4 kilometer. Yeah, correct. So the HKL was held by reserve battalion. So yeah, this one was HKL was held by reserve battalions. Yeah, HKL was held by reserve battalion. Then security zone defense is like, okay, each infantry regiment has 3 battalions. 2 out of 3 were up front, holding a 2 kilometer wide sector each. Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is how the security zone is organized. And HKL was held by reserve battalions. Yeah. So okay. So the security zone, just because HKL is the main line of resistance, don't think the security zone is slightly defended. According to the book, the security zones was heavily reinforced, protected by mines, anti-tank ditches, and wire obstacles. And there were troops occupying the consecutive position. So the strongest so one of the heavily fortified position was the Buffalo position, which was held by the 260 infantry divisions. So it was called in German it was called the Buffer Stallon, or the Buffalo position. And there's also another, and on the left flank of the 4th Army around here, it was held by the VVS2 Army Corps. So this position was called the Barbarossa Stallon, or Barbarossa Stallon. So yeah, these are the very important position that the German had. So the Germans was also aided by the fact that this entire area was marshy and heavily wooded in this region. So basically it favors defense. So because when there are forests and marshes and all this, it can provide ample cover for the German defenders, and making it hard for the Soviet artillery to pinpoint their position. Okay, then now so this is the 4th Army defense. So Hanrisa also received intelligence that there will be a major offensive against Smolensk. So during this period was the spring because at the same time, I believe Operation Citadel or Curse was going on. So the Ninth Army was like conducting their operation here. Yeah, so the thing is that the Soviets were planning to do Operation Kutuzov before Operation Suvorov. Operation Suvorov here. So Operation Suvorov referred to the operation to liberate Smolensk. So yeah. So Henry received intelligence. So what he did was he actually the Fourth Army issued an order that Smolensk will be turned into a fortress. So the pioneer regiments. So they have some pioneer regiments which was tasked with completing a defensive ring around the city within 3 months. So yeah. So the Western Front also the Fourth Army also had very good intelligence report. So they know that the Soviet will likely attack in this area, the sparse demands. They will likely to attack the X-22 Army Corps near sparse demands, and in the XSXIX Army Corps in the Dologobus sector. Dologobus. So basically the Fourth Army have reported that the Soviet was likely to attack in this area and in this area. So this was the intelligence report. So von Kluger, which was the what's that called, the field marshal in charge of Army Group Center, he had nearly a week warning time before Suvorov begins, which enabled him to reposition his limited reserve. So this was when like he positioned some of his reserve here. So the 18 Panzer, the 18 Panzer Grenadier Divisions was placed in the tactical reserve behind XSXIX Panzer Corps. And also at the same time, because during this time, Walter Model, the commander of Ninth Army, he was withdrawing from the Rujev salient. So he was trying to shorten the line by withdrawing from the large Rujev salient. So basically Model was able to provide a few more divisions to shore up the Fourth Army defense at Smolensk. So von Kluger was able to get the the 2 Panzer division and 2 depleted infantry divisions, 36 and 56 divisions from the Ninth Army under Walter Model. So as a result, the Germans had a good idea where and when Operation Suvorov was likely to strike, and were able to adjust their defenses in the threatened sectors before Sokolovsky, who was the commander of Western Front. So before Sokolovsky landed a single blow. Yes, okay, then that's bad. So if you look at this map, 4th Army Operational Reserve. They also have the 246 Operational Reserve here, defending the left flank of the 4th Army, which helped the Barbarossa-Stellan position. Okay, then also take note there's so if you look at them, Soviet planned axis of attack. So the Soviet plan to attack with the 39th Army they plan to attack here. So the 39th Army was under the Kalinin Front. So they also plan to attack here the 31st Army, which was under the Western Front. So this is another axis of that. 5 Army, 5th Army, 10 Guards Army, 33 Army. So they also have the 10 Army, 50 Army. So this basically the main axis of attack is against the 4th. Sorry. The main axis of attack is against. Sorry, I changed the red color. The main axis of attack is around here, against the 4th Army defending the approach towards Smolensk. Kalinin front only provides supporting attack. Okay, then let's look at the Soviet plan in detail. So for this operation, so according to Dubu, Soviet intelligence on the 4th Army frontline defenses was adequate, but there was little information on the location or size of enemy mobile reserves. So they still couldn't get information on where the reserve are located and the enemy reserve are located. So Suvorov. So this is the commander of the Western Front, Sokolovsky. Western Front commander, Soviet. Western Front commander, Vasily Sokolovsky. So he was a very cautious commander. He was a very cautious commander and a careful planner. So Operation Suvorov was planned to be very, what's the right term? Set piece in nature, set piece. So how he planned to do is he will attack in 2 echelon. So he will attack in 2 echelon. So this is the, I believe this is like the first echelon of attack wave. Then they also have their own operational reserve. So this will be the second echelon. So they will first attack with the first echelon, then they will commit the second echelon after a breakthrough was achieved. So let's see, let me read a bit. So the Stavka provided Western Front with 4 assault engineer brigades to assist in obstacle clearing. So this was a huge improvement from previous human wave attack that the Soviet used against like well defended German position. So this time they have those assault engineers brigades to basically blow up wire obstacles, demolish any like anti-tank ditches or whatever lah. So they now use more engineering support to clear any obstacles that German had. So you can see the Soviets were more like, I guess they recognize the importance of clearing the defenses first before you send all your men into like the teeth of German machine guns. So yeah, then let me see. So let's take a look. Western Front. So 3 armies. Okay, the 21st 11 Army and the 68. Okay, and the 68. So these three army were transferred from the Stavka reserve to reinforce the Western Front. Okay, then let's see. Okay, let's analyze the armor formation that the Soviet had for this offensive. So, unlike the Zhukov offensive against the Army Group Center in 1942, the Western Front was provided with much less armor because most of the armor was sent to the south to support the Operation Kutuzov and Operation Romance. How to pronounce Operation Romance. I do not pronounce. There were two operations that take place shortly before the Operation Smolensk. So it's the counter-offensive at Kursk. It's called Operation Rumansia, Operation Rumansia, and Operation Kutuzov. So Operation Kutuzov was directed against the Ninth Army at the Oris Salient. Then Operation Rumansia was directed at the German grouping at Belgorod and Kharkov. So, let me take a look first. Let me check first. Okay. Okay, so all 4 of the 10 corps belonging to the Western Front were committed to Operation Kutuzov by mid-July. So Sokolovsky had only the 5th Mechanized Corps for this operation. So where's the 5th Mechanized Corps? Can I find? Is this the 5th Mechanized Corps? No, this is the 5th Army. 5th Mechanized Corps. It wasn't shown here. So this 5th Mechanized Corps, Red Army, Soviet Union. So it was the only large tank formation for this Operation Kutuzov. Operation Suvorov. I don't think it's this one. It wasn't shown on the map. Yeah, so basically they will use their tanks for. Okay, so most of the armor from the 5th Mechanized Corps were used in infantry support role to reduce enemy strong points. So unlike the doctrine of deep battle, which is you commit your Mechanized Corps last after breakthrough was achieved, so that you can basically do deep battle. So you can once you break through the tactical zone, you commit your Mechanized Corps towards like very important operational targets like Smolensk or this city and this. So unlike the deep battle operation, Sokolovsky planned to use most of the armor for breaking through the German defenses around here. Because what Sokolovsky think was that this area was heavily wooded and there were a lot of marshes, so it was not ideal for large-scale mobile operations. So his thinking was that he was trying to avoid the mistake of Operation Mars, because many of the mechanized spearhead was cut off by the German counterattacks. So Sokolovsky didn't want to risk that in this operation. That's why he just planned to break through the enemy strong points. But he did plan to use cavalry, like large cavalry. He did plan to use cavalry corps for the exploitation phase. Something like that, like mix, not purely cavalry, but like mix cavalry and armor corps to do the exploitation phase. But according to the book, most of the armor was still used for infantry support role. Yeah, let me check first. Yeah, most of the armor was used in yeah, because the thing is that large armor formation will be difficult to be deployed in the marshy and the wooded area, the forested region around here. So better focus on like the tactical breakthrough rather than the operational phase. So Sokolovsky was also provided with with enough artillery, but because there were other frontline operations taking place at the south as well as at Leningrad, that's why Sokolovsky had sufficient artillery ammunition, but not a lot. So the Stavka only sent enough ammunition to support the initial breakthrough battles. Okay. So let's see. So the timing for Operation Suvorov was dependent on the progress achieved by the Bryansk Front and the Western Front 11 Guards Army in Operation Kutuzov. So Western Front has a 11 Guards Army around here. So the Western Front 11 Guards Army and Bryansk Front were fighting in Operation Kutuzov. So the Operation Suvorov will take place after these operations. So ideally, the Army Group right flank, which was around here, Army Group right flank, the 9th Army, basically 9th Army, will be destabilized by the earlier operation and in retreat before the Western Front begin its push towards Roscoff. So they want to weaken the right flank around here, so that the push in the center towards this city of Roslav will be easier. Then let me look first. What else can I say? So let's take a look at this map. A bigger map will be this 1943. Okay, 1943 map. So this is the macro view of the Eastern Front. So outlook. Okay. Oh no, not this one. Okay, no, not this one. Open with Paint 3D. So this is the overall view. So basically in total there were 11 Soviet fronts taking place. In total there were a total of 12 Soviet fronts. So 11 of the 12 active Soviet fronts will be involved in the summer offensive planned by Stavka, leaving only the Northwest Front on the sideline. Okay, so 11 of the 12 11 of the 12 Soviet fronts were involved in a massive large-scale operations against the 11 of the 12 Soviet fronts were active and were basically planning multiple summer offensive. So only the Northwest Front was on the sideline. I believe the Northwest Front referred to the one in the one against the Finland. I believe that's the Northwest Front. I'm not sure. I have to double check. Yeah. Okay. So the Northwest Front was fighting against Finland. That's what I can say. So the Staffelker want to gain and maintain strategic initiative by inflicting multiple blows upon various sectors of the German front, hoping to cause a collapse wherever possible. Furthermore, by attacking all 4 German army groups nearly simultaneously, the enemy who find it more difficult to transfer reserve from one sector to another. So basically, the Staffelker was planning like multiple large-scale summer offensive, so that all 4 German army will be so tired out that they cannot like reinforce each other. So of course, the first one is in Operation Kutuzov against the Bryansk Aureus sector. Then after that, it was the Operation Rumencia against the Kharkov Belgorod grouping. And there's also the offensive to relieve the siege of to open a gap, to open a supply line, a land route in Leningrad. I believe they succeed in that, something like that, but it was a very narrow land route, so only a limited supplies can go through, something like that. It was only during the 1944 that the Leningrad was finally relieved of its siege. So there was a Leningrad offensive. Then there's also the offensive against the Kuban, the 1943 Battle for Kuban. After that is the Operation Kutuzov against Smolensk. Yes. Okay. So now, okay, let's take a look at the partisan activity. So Soviet partisan activity. So the Soviets have partisan activity around here. So the goal was to basically disrupt any railway communications between the various divisions and army and the core headquarters. So the partisan was involved in destroying the line of communication here. So some of the important communication will be like there was the Minsk-Smolensk highway around here. Then there's a route from Smolensk to Oshia, Vitebsk. Okay, yeah. So the Army Group Center of Hiris Lupomida has achieved some success in clearing the partisan groups from the primary line of communication, particularly the Minsk-Smolensk highway. So the Minsk-Smolensk highway is around here. This entire area is the Minsk-Smolensk highway. So this is like the main line of communication for the Army Group Center. So the Army Group Center or Hiris Lupo has achieved some success in clearing the partisan group away from the primary line of communication, the Minsk-Smolensk highway. But most of the secondary lines of communication were under regular attack. So probably the second line of communication is here, 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 and there are some like railways that are not shown here. So most of the secondary line of communication were under attack. So in the city of Roslav, there was this Koichi 559, Koichi 559, Kolutz 559. So this one was like composed of 13 German security battalions, 4 Ops Truppen or the Eastern Volunteer Battalion, 2 light artillery battalion, and an assortment of smaller detachment. So the goal for this one is to protect the line of communications behind 4th Army. So like this one is to protect the line of communication behind 4th Army against partisan attack. Okay, so let's look at the army disposition. So this is the 4th Army. Then this is the 2nd Panzer Army. 2nd Panzer Army. And this is the 3rd Panzer Army. Yeah, so 4th Army was the main defender in the battle for Smolensk. So it will bear the brunt of Western Front assault. You can see all the. You can see this is the main axis of attack. So they are attacking the Buffalo Stallion position here. They also attack the Barbarossa Stallion defense position here, and they also attack here as well. So next, anything I can talk about? So let's see Soviet. Vasily. Okay, so so the thing about the Western Front Army attack plan. So Sokolovsky, the new commander of the Western Front favor a methodical approach, hoping to avoid another Operation Mars. So he knew from previous failed offensive that the 4th Army defenses would be difficult to breach, so it was decided to attack in 2 echelons, each with 2 infantry army. Okay, so what it means is like, I believe, okay, the first echelon has 2 infantry army, then the second echelon has another 2 infantry army, something of sorts. So rather than committing everything up front, Sokolovsky wanted to be able to feed fresh forces into the battle, thereby maintaining momentum. So yeah, so he's trying to like feed flesh through into the battle rather than just like commit all the armies up front. Just like, yeah, so he tried to do a more methodical approach. So if I'm okay. So the plan for the Stavko plan for Western Front is to meet the main attack against. So the main effort will be against the German 4th Army at Spas-Demensk and attack towards Roslov. Then Kalinin Front will. Okay, I believe this is the supporting attack from Kalinin Front. So from here, Kalinin Front will provide supporting attack against the north of Smolensk. So after you capture Sloviansk, you will move north and do a huge encirclement of the German defenses at Smolensk. Okay. So let's see. So actually, as stated previously, the 4th Army was able to get good intelligence report of the Soviet offensive effort. So they predict correctly that the enemy was likely to attack in the Spas-Demensk sector, as well as here as well. That's why they send reinforcement, the 18 Panzer divisions, to reinforce, to provide a reserve force for this army. So the 18th Panzer Grenadier Division was placed in tactical reserve behind this SSSIX Panzer Corps. And also don't forget sorry, I have to use black pen. This one and this one. This one and okay, this one. And don't forget that the 9th Army underwater model also provide additional tactical reserve here and here. This one is also another reserve for the 4th Army. Okay, another reserve here, the 56th Infantry Division. So all these are the German reserve. So von Kluger, the commander for the Army Group Center, he was a very cautious planner according to the book. He was a cautious planner. So he only have limited reserve. He only have limited reserve to counter the Soviet armed spearheads. So he planned to use his reserve wisely. Let's see the German plan. So the Soviet had a lot less armor for this offensive. This applies the same for the German as well. So the army group primary mission was defensive in nature, to hold key terrain while not making demands upon other fronts for reinforcement. So the plan for von Kluge was to just hold a continuous front row here and remain on the defensive. At the same time, von Kluge actually planned for a limited skill offensive. So what he planned to do was to cut off the Soviet-held salient at Kilov with two Panzer divisions. But this effort was actually continuously postponed. So yeah, von Kluge intended to eliminate the Soviet-held Kilov salient with a pincer attack once two Panzer divisions were available, but he didn't manage to get to it because of a constant delay. Okay, let me check. Okay, then so von Kluge also have to contend with large partisan bands that continuously that operate in his rear areas and harass his supply line here and here and here. So like consequently, 4th Army and the Kolos, this is the security, basically the security division. They were obliged to regularly mount large-scale anti-partisan operations such as Operation Nachbarlife and Winter Storm. I don't know it's a German name. Okay. Let me take a look for Sokolovsky. So, just a quick look at the statistic. 1943 Smolensk. Smolensk operation. So you can see the Soviet has around 1,430 guns, 1,430 tanks. The German only have 500 tanks. So the German had limited like armor reserve. So the German plan was to like basically hold the draw as much as possible and commit the limited reserve in a timely fashion. So planes, while they also have less. So it was quite a fierce battle. So despite an impressive German defense, the Red Army was able to stage several breakthroughs, liberated major cities such as Smolensk and Loslav, which was this city I mentioned just now. This is a very important city. It was the main objective for the Western Front to take when trying to drive a wedge through the 4th Army. Because after capture Loslav, they can swing north and capture Smolensk. What is next? Let's see. So in this battle, the German had a manpower. The German had basically lost a lot of their. The German army was unable to replace its personnel loss. So many infantry divisions could no longer maintain a 9-battalion organizational structure. So many 4th Army divisions were already reduced to a 2 infantry regiment structure. So the German defenses were also quite weak. They were no longer as strong as in 1942 and 1941. In terms because they are suffering from a lack of manpower. Let's see first. Let me go through a bit. Yes, correct. So von Kluge, he knew that he who have far less air and armor support to counter the next enemy offensive than he had enjoyed in 1942. So he had to rely upon more rigid defensive tactics and hope that any Soviet offensive could be fought to a stalemate before he expanded his limited reserves. Yeah. So this is the point I want to make. Okay, let's check the commanders involved. So Western Front was by Vasily Sokolovsky. Then the Andrei Yermomenkov was the commander in charge of Kalinin Front. The Kalinin Front. So under Andrei Yermomenkov, he will be in charge of the supporting attack. Actually, just from the 39 army. I don't think this army were involved in the operation. So they were in charge of the supporting attack on Smolensk. So this is under Andrei Yermomenkov, and this one is under Sokolovsky. Yeah. Okay, so this is just the basic disposition at the front line. The troop disposition at the front line. So hope you like and subscribe. Thank you very much.